It is definitely a wonderful experience, and highlighting what you've just mentioned and echoing your messaging. It is, I believe, the collective experience of the virus that has really stopped and invited people to reflect on the importance of reconnecting with Earth. And in terms of being able to embody um, qualities such as resilience on such hard times and challenging times, what could you share in terms of practical steps that we can be able to experience right now once we finish our conversation together? You know, how is it that we could very simplistically just have that little step towards getting a bit closer?
See, because people have very little experience of living on this earth. The moment these four walls came around us, we have no experience of life. We are living in a cell of our own, where temperature is controlled at whatever temperature we want, and we have no seasons, we have no flowers blossoming, we don't have any experience of life. There is no sunlight, there's no moonlight, everything is, LED or whatever it is. So I'm saying living indoors is one of the main reasons why people have forgotten what is nature. One significant step that everybody must do is, instead of… I'm not against all these things, but I'm just saying, because today, one of the most visited holiday places in the country, in this country, in United States, is Vegas. Las Vegas is the most visited one. Next comes Florida. Well, there is Dubai, there is Mumbai, there is these kind of things. This is where people are taking their children. I would
Yes.
say every week at least one day, if you go out and sleep under the stars, if you go out and make them experience life the way it is, understanding that every other creature who crawls and walks and slides around on this planet have a significant role to play in the making of this earth. Why I'm saying this is, in the last 50 years, 70% of the vertebrate life has been exterminated. 70%. And they are saying by the end of this century, 80% of the insect population could go. If insect
Yeah.
population goes, we cannot grow anything, our lives will go. Mass deaths of human beings will happen if all the insects die. Every day we are slaughtering over 200 million animals, okay? We don't need that much for food. We're just slaughtering them because everything is done in excess. Because we are not seeing other life as life. We are thinking only if it's in the human form, it's life. Rest is not life and they have no right to live. Unfortunately, such lessons have been taught to people in certain cultures that every other life is here to serve you. Please just go and observe an ant or a bee or any other creature on the planet. They have a complete life of their own. They have no interest in serving you. Well, they live in such a way that they're eco-friendly and it may serve us, that's a different matter. But they have no intention of serving us, they have a full-fledged life of their own. I've spent enormous amount of time in the jungles in India, in the, in rainforests in India. Every small life has a complete life of its own and it doesn't think a damn about us. But we are thinking we are the center of the universe, which has caused too much damage. I think being exposed to nature, the next generation of people, if they're little more exposed to nature, if we build homes, at least where a part of it is open, open to sky, it's very important. We are promoting this everywhere in India now, and all old designs of homes used to be like this. A part of the house used to be open to sky. It would rain inside. Even today in my house, it rains inside. My daughter who grew up in this house always says that is the most spectacular thing, that inside the house there used to be pouring monsoon rains, you know because children need to experience this. Just living
Correct,
in
yeah.
four walls is completely destroying our idea and our sensibility towards earth and other life.
Thank you so much. Harjinder, I believe you'd like to step in.
Thank you, Noor. Sadhguru, A Ducati riding guru is a rare sight. Besides riding a Ducati, you also drive luxury cars, you fly choppers, you play golf, you are a football fan, you are perhaps the most stylish mystic. We often are confused, but because we intertwine spirituality and minimalistic life. How do you define spirituality?
Anyway, let me correct this, I don't like luxury cars, I like cars or any machine that works well. Because a mystic means he is a mechanic who understands the mechanics of life. Well, isn't this true that this mechanism, which we call as human mechanism, is the most sophisticated, complex machine which works very smoothly, it organizes itself, it creates itself, and it maintains itself all the time unless you do something nasty with it. So I'm interested in anything that works seamlessly. Luxury cars, no, I never drove any of them. But about these things, you mentioned motorcycle and a helicopter and this and that and golf, whatever. Well, I do many more things that people may not be aware of. I would like to do almost everything if I had the time. But the important reason why this is necessary and why we are even putting out some of the personal aspects of my life outside is because people's understanding of spirituality right now is, if you eat badly, dress badly and live badly, you must be spiritual. So no wonder nobody wants to be spiritual. Spiritual means it happened 1,000 years ago. I must tell you this, I was in Chennai and I had to go into a conference and normally I drive myself because I don't like the way most people drive. So I drove into this conference and there were some journalists and they asked, in ancient times yogis used to walk, how come you drive your own car? I said, in ancient times, you fool, everybody used to walk. Not only yogis, everybody was walking, so yogis also were walking. Today everybody is driving, so yogis also driving. If I come walking all the way from Coimbatore to United States, you will say I'm a bloody fool, isn't it? Hello? So, the problem of… especially if you come from India, there has never been such an imagery. It is only in the calendar images now that this has happened. This frugalness of spiritual people has happened post-British era, not before. For example, the greatest spiritual teaching that you have in India, or the most popular teaching that you have in India, is the Bhagavad Gita. Look at the way Krishna is dressed, and he's riding whatever that brand was, I don't know if it is BMW or a Ducati, you always call him Parthasarathi, that means he was a great driver. Hello? Yes, isn't it? He's driving for the warrior because he's the best driver available. Well, I'm also pretty good, so I drive.
And I would like to know, so you just mentioned there are many things which more that you do, which people don't know. Can you just tell us what are few of those things?
I cook, I paint, I make carpentry, I do many things like this.
Noor and I are coming soon to you to have the food,
I'm sorry?
which is, let's say, I said Noor and I are coming soon, Sadhguru, if you allow us to come and to
Oh,
have the food.
if you eat my cooking, then you will get enslaved to me, don't do that. You're most
Noor,
welcome.
Thank you. Picking up on the whole imagery or the interpretation of spirituality, we're so influenced by conditioning through our upbringing, through society, the labeling, the judgment. What are the steps for us to be taking or to be reflecting on? And I would primarily love to focus on the youth as well, not only on our current work, not only on today. What would be the steps for us to start peeling those layers and really heightening consciousness? As you mentioned previously, obviously those four walls, let's break them, connecting more to nature. I'm very interested in understanding better. So how do we peel those? How do we bring awareness to that okay, you're a mystic, so this is who you are, that's how you need to live, and it happens very much with everything else in what we've created as human beings.
Now that you use the word peel twice, so let me hang on to that word.
Yes.
Yes, in a way, peeling is what is needed. If you want to see, you must peel your eyes. Very simple. If you have your eyelids down, you can't see. Similarly, if you want to see anything, you need to peel because this is the nature of our vision. Unless something is opened, we can't see it. When it comes to the individual human being, we cannot open this body because if you break it, you can't fix it. So what is physical, you don't have to open because what is peeling in physicality is just a question of creating distance. See, this is a fact that you and me as we sit here, well, I have a body, you have a body. This body, we were not born like this. We were born only like this and we became like this. We became like this by the food that we consume. Yes, it is just accumulation of food or it's just a piece of the planet. As I said earlier, most people don't understand that the soil that we walk upon and the body that we carry are not different. Not different at all, it's just a little bit of loan that we have taken from Mother Earth. When it's time, we must put it back joyfully, but most people crib about that, they don't want to return the loans that they have taken. Mother Earth is
Right.
generous to give you what you want, but when it's time, she collects it atom by atom. She won't let you keep anything. So having said that, what you accumulate, whatever it is, whether it's body, money, wealth, clothes, this, that, including impressions, experiences, relationships, all this we gathered. What we gather can belong to us, but cannot be us, isn't it? So if we have to gather so much body and so much mind, there must be something more fundamental to this. That is unexperienced by most of the humanity today because the social focus is not there. Right now, everybody is going about as if economy is the ultimate nature of life. The economic figures are the ultimate nature of life. Economy is
Yes.
just glorified survival process. People used to hunt, gather and survive, then they did agriculture and survived. Now we're doing stock market and surviving, it doesn't matter what we're doing, but it is just a survival process getting more and more complex. So, we are getting so entangled in this complexity, right now it's become like this, at least for the educated class in this world, the soul of humanity is economy. Nobody's talking anything else anywhere you go, only economy, economy, economy. Because this whole madness of survival, the bar of survival being raised and raised and raised endlessly is going on. So here, there is… we are in United States, which is supposed to be the most affluent nation in the world. Well, with affluence, what should happen? Why would a human being look for affluence? Initially, it's about choice of nourishment. If I have money, if I have affluence, I can eat what I want, that's how it starts. Then it's a choice of lifestyle. So the most affluent society on the planet where there's an enormous choice of nourishment and an enormous choice of lifestyles, well, 70% they say are on prescription medication. Their healthcare bill is over $3 trillion. It's bigger than India's economy with 1.4 billion people what we have, all right? I'm saying if you had choice of nourishment and choice of lifestyle, you must be at the peak of your physical and mental health, isn't it? Both physical health and mental health is becoming a serious issue simply because you have not addressed the most fundamental aspects of being human. Because who you are is being created from within you. If you don't take charge of that, if you don't access that, it doesn't matter what you gather around you, everything will just mock at you. Your big buildings, your endless amount of bungalows and palaces will only mock at you. Your massive cars are mocking at you right now. Now you want to see how you want to do something different, but how difficult it is to do something different. I am not against any of the things that I am mentioning. It's up to you what you want to have. If only you understand it's only an accessory to life. Life is throbbing within you. Rest are accessories. How many accessories do you need? Well, it's individual choice. I don't want this to be my decision. You may need, let's say, 10 accessories. I may need two. This is our choice. It's perfectly fine. As long as both of us are conscious, what we have gathered is only accessories. This is not life. Life is something that happens within us, but that's not even come into people's experience. Right now, the physiological compulsions and psychological demands are being understood as life. What you think and feel is not your life, it's just your psychological drama. You can think whatever you want, yes? But unfortunately, most people can't think whatever they want. They are structured as to how to think. And all the human suffering is coming from this. See, there are only two kinds of sufferings: physical suffering, mental suffering. Is there any other suffering in a human life? Only these two. So the simplest thing, because you talked about peeling, the entire system of yoga, the entire spiritual process, if it is scientifically handled, is just this. Right now we have what is called as inner engineering. The basic practice is this: if you sit here, your body is here, your mind is out there, what is you is little away from you. These two things. Once there is a space between you and your body, once there is a space between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. Because these are the only two things where you suffer. You also suffer these things not because body is suffering, not because mind is suffering, simply because you have been given a very sophisticated mechanism, but you don't bother to read the user's manual. That's why you're suffering. You don't know how to handle it. Human beings are suffering their own intelligence, isn't it? Most human beings are only suffering their intelligence. Very few places have war zones, famines, this, that. They're unfortunate situations which need to be fixed. But most of the human beings are suffering their own intelligence. So what the problem is evolutionary, I'm saying. If you gave them the brain of an earthworm, they would all be peaceful. They would be very peaceful, I'm saying. So right now people are going about propagating peace is the ultimate goal of life. I'm asking you, how do I address you? Highness?
Noor.
Excellency? Huh?
Noor is fine.
No response. So I'm asking you, if you are not even peaceful, can you enjoy the meal that you eat? No. Can you enjoy a handful of people around you if you are not peaceful? Your dear ones, your children, your spouse, whoever else is around you who are most dear to you, even they become horrible when you are not peaceful, isn't it?
True.
When you are experiencing a certain turmoil, do you see all of them become horrible? Not that they are behaving horribly. I'm saying in your experience, everybody becomes an irritant, isn't it? Only when you are peaceful, you can look at them and enjoy them. You can eat what you eat and you enjoy them. You can enjoy this space in your home or wherever you are, you can enjoy that only if you're peaceful. So I'm asking, is peace the most fundamental requirement within us, or is this the ultimate goal of life that you want to do in heaven? Unfortunately, this whole thing has been turned upside down by non-practicing or what to say, very enterprising spirituality, where there is no inner experience. They just read two books and then they all become spiritual teachers all over the world, and they've messed up human mind in such a bad way, that now people are saying suffering is an inevitable part of human life. I am asking you, is it your choice right now, this moment, Noor, this moment, is it your choice to sit here joyfully or cause some misery to yourself? Is it your choice or no?
Definitely.
So, it is your choice, this moment means it's your choice every moment of your life, because your entire life happens in this moment, isn't it?
Sure.
You never experienced an yesterday or a tomorrow But people suffer. What happened 10 years ago, they still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. This means they're suffering human faculties. They are not suffering life. A vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination is what makes us very different from every other creature on this planet. The richness of human life is only because we have such a vivid sense of memory and we have a fantastic imagination. But this is what 99% of the human beings are suffering. They're suffering their memory and their imagination. Essentially, they're complaining about evolution. I'm saying to get us to this level of cerebral capability, it took millions of years of work, millions of years to make an amoeba into such a complex life. It took millions of years of work and now people are suffering that. How bad is that?
Can I ask the question, Sadhguru? Sadhguru, you just spoke about economy. You touched upon the issue of peace. And here I'm asking you a question about women who can be a part of economics of the world. Do you think that women can really be a part of inclusive economics, which many people or we would like to talk about? And then if we are, then we try to multitask. We want to take so many roles. And that obviously brings us stress also, because if we want to deliver, stress is, I think, a part of this. How do we manage everything? How do we balance everything? Can you give us some advice as women in business?
Why are you saying stress is a part of this? No, no. So essentially, you are saying some kind of suffering should be there if you have to be successful. No, that's not right, because a suffering mind is not a creative mind. I know most people say that from Europe, only in deep suffering you will be creative. No, I'm telling you, if you are blissed out all the time, you will be very, very creative, because unhindered exploration of your genius will happen when you are not an impediment to yourself. Suffering means you're putting up impediments to your own faculties, your own intelligence, your own genius. So do not ever understand suffering or stress or tension or whatever else as some kind of a creative process. Yes, it is true that right now if we smash your little finger, all right? I'm saying suffering, physical suffering. If we smash your little finger, you will run all over the place at full speed. If a dog is chasing you, you will run full speed. But is that the way to go? You know, in India, unfortunately, in some villages they used to have this, fortunately these things have stopped. They will tie some firecrackers to the tail of a donkey. And poor animal runs like crazy and everybody is happy how with a donkey is running faster than a horse. Is this the way to run, I'm asking? Is this a way for human being to explore our potential? We tie firecrackers to our tail and run because it's going to burst in our face otherwise? This is not the way to do things. So when we say women being part of the economic process, they've always been. It is just that today we have a twisted sense of economic process. Tell me, right from ancient times, I'm going back to the caveman's time, when people lived in caves and forests. Was she not a part of the economic process? Maybe she didn't go hunting, but when things were brought home, she sorted out things, she made sure everything is put to best use, she made sure everybody is nourished and everything is taken care of. Is this not economic process? If a woman is not competent, then what is brought home will be wasted. Is saving a part of your banking business, I'm asking? Without savings, is there banking? Without banking, is there an economic process on the planet? I'm asking. Can economic engine be driven without banking system? Can banking system operate without people saving? Wasn't it always the main consciousness of the woman in the house, how to save everything and put it to best use? Who said she was not a part of the economic process? Right now, unfortunately, we have a twisted sense of economy. We think only if you work on the factory floor, you're in the economic process. This is a very crude way of looking at life. I think I'm not commenting about this lady, but there was an iconic picture from the World War II time. If it was for the war effort, I very much appreciate it, but it was used by political campaigns and various other things, where an American lady is like this with her bicep showing and saying, "We can do it." You've seen that iconic picture. Because it was… commenting about this mainly because it was used in political campaigns, presidential campaigns used this. Well, I'm saying the significance of modern times is this, that our activity and the significance of our activity has moved from human muscle to human cerebral activity because of technology and machines and things like that. From brawn to brain, this is the most important thing in the uplifting of a woman, because now the man's muscle, which ran the world at one time, anything that was needed, you needed man's muscle. So naturally, he was the dominant force in a given society, or at least we see it from outside that way, but it was not so even in those societies. Women had equal roles to play. Because our movies, our stories, everything is projecting the man who goes and fights and kills somebody is the strong man. The woman who sits at home and nourishes and creates life and brings up children, that same idiot who's fighting right now was brought up by her, that is not powerful. This is a complete misconception of life. This is a topsy-turvy understanding of life. So having said that, it is very important, today's time is very, very important because the significance of man muscle has receded. If you have big muscles, I'm saying if I'm a man and I have big muscles, well, they may hire me as a security man for somebody. They won't make me the boss of the place. There was a time the man with big muscle was the boss of the community, whoever had the biggest muscle. But unfortunately, our movies, both in Hollywood and in India, are still projecting a man with big muscles who can beat up everybody is still the boss. This is an unfortunate caveman projection that is still going on. It's very important that muscles are not the important force. Now there are machines where if you put 1,000,000 men, they are not a match for a single machine. So we have created machines, technology has come, now it is a question of intelligence and competence. So I don't think, if you ask me, I know a lot of women may react to this, but I'm clearly saying this. Let me repeat this, I've said this before, but I'm clearly saying this. There is no need for women to fight for equality. All they have to do is, education is available… in most nations, at least by law, they're equal. Socially, they may not be yet, but by law, there is equality. Now all they have to do is, more and more girls should be educated, should become competent. Today it's happening in India big time. More girls are passing out of high school than boys. More girls are there in… I went to some technological institutes, technical institutes, there are more girls than boys, not literature or commerce or something. In engineering schools, there are more girls are earning PhDs than boys are earning. This is all. If you do this for another 15–20 years, it'll be a level playing field. Instead of just creating unnecessary rancor, unnecessary resistance where from the other side also ugly things will happen, this is all that has to be done, because empowerment is the way to go forward, not a fight, not showing your muscle, because even a man's muscle is meaningless, why is a woman's muscle so important now?